Welcome to Cook the Math, where culinary art meets mathematical precision. Thank you for joining. We are back with another episode of Dine or DIY. And normally what we would do is we would take a singular fast food or restaurant item and we compare it to getting the ingredients from the store and making it at home. But in this case, rather than looking at one particular item, we're actually going to look at a whole meal. And for this entire meal, we are going to go to one of the more popular chicken places, not Chick-fil-A, but Raising Cane's. And we're going to do their famous box combo. One of the few chicken places that is open on Sundays. Now, the Raising Cane's box combo normally comes with these items. We have our chicken tenders, our French fries, our Texas toast, the cane sauce, coleslaw, and a drink of choice. Even though the picture showed tea, we're actually going to do lemonade for this one. And as usual, we are going to split this up into three categories. The first part is the total price of each item at the store. Next up is the dollars per serving, where we take the price of the item, we divide it by how many servings there are. And then lastly, the price per part, or how much does it cost to use the specific amount that we need. And as usual, these will all be from Walmart. And in this case, they will also be either the Great Value brand or their Freshness Guarantee brand. Though keep in mind that prices may vary depending on where you are from, what store you go to, and what brand you get. So in this case, we're going to start off with the chicken tenders, and Walmart did recently release a Cane's copy called Famous Chicken Tenders. And these cost $12.73 for around 18 of them. I did manage to count them, and 3 pounds is roughly 18 chicken tenders. For the French fries, they do use crinkle cut French fries, and that is going to be $2.97, and that gets down to about 143 pieces, give or take. For the Texas toast, it isn't exactly the Texas toast that Raising Cane's has, but we are going to just use their garlic Texas toast, and that is $2.24 for 8 of them. For the cane sauce, again, Walmart did recently release a copy of their cane sauce that is very difficult to get, but if you manage to get it, it is similar to the other copycat sauces that Walmart has, and this one is 24 tablespoons. For the coleslaw, we're going to use the Freshness Guarantee brand, and that is $2.92 for about 2.25 cups. And then lastly, the Great Value Original Lemonade is going to be $2.98 for about 96 ounces. Now we're going to do dollar per serving. So $12.73 divided by 18, that is going to cost 71 cents. For the French fries, we're going to divide $2.97 by 143, and that is about 2 cents. For the Texas toast, we are going to divide 224 divided by 8, and that is 28 cents, which will also be our dollar per part because we only get one Texas toast unless if you get a substitute. Cane sauce, we're going to divide 228 divided by 24, and that gives us 10 cents. The coleslaw, dividing 292 divided by 2.25, and that is $1.30. And then our original lemonade, dividing 298 divided by 96, and that gives us 3 cents. Now for our dollar per part, the box combo gives you 4 chicken tenders, so we're multiplying this by 4, and we get $2.84. Our French fries, it can vary. I'm just going to round it to about 20, so that's going to be 40 cents. Our Texas toast, we already have one for. Cane sauce, that gives you about a 3.5 ounce container, so that's going to be about 7 tablespoons, so 70 cents. Coleslaw, we're just going to bring that down to about a 1/4 cup, and that's going to be about 33 cents. And the lemonade, that is 22 ounces, so that's going to cost about 66 cents. Adding all these together, that will give us a total of $5.21. Now, where I'm from, the box combo costs $11.79. And back a few years ago during the pandemic, it was under $10 for a box combo. But either way, compared to making it at home, it would cost $6.58 cheaper to make. And if you were to get all the ingredients at the store, it would cost you $26.12. Now, normally this is where I would end the episode. However, considering that the cane sauce is difficult to get and the chicken tenders might be difficult to get, I'm going to see what it costs to make each of these ingredients from scratch, with the exception of the French fries, because crinkle cut is difficult to do for the average consumer. So we are going to look at each ingredient and see how much it costs to make each ingredient in our segment we call Side Order. Now, I did find the chicken tenders recipe from Gimme Delicious, and some of the ingredients do overlap, so these are just mostly based on how much is there and how much we actually need. So let's start out with our chicken tenderloins, and while Walmart did have a version of this, the one that best matches the recipe is Tyson's Trimmed and Ready Chicken Breast Tenderloins, and that costs about $8.22, and that's for roughly 12 of them. For our buttermilk, this comes from Prairie Farms, and it is $2.72 for 4 cups. For the eggs, in the Sensible Cuisine Brownie episode, I used Eggland's Best, but here we're just going to use Great Value eggs, and that is $3.26 for 12 of them. For our garlic powder, it's just the Great Value brand, and that's $1.12 for 19 tablespoons. Salt, that is our cheapest item. It's the Great Value iodized salt, and that costs 67 cents for about 41 tablespoons. Our pepper, we could use the Great Value pepper. I decided to just use the McCormick black pepper, and that costs $2.08 for about 30.5 teaspoons. We're going to use a lowercase t for that. For our flour, we're just going to use our Great Value flour, and that's $1.32 for about 7.5 cups. Cornstarch, it is just the Great Value cornstarch, and that is $1.92, and that's for about 2.8 cups. Onion powder is also Great Value, and similar to the garlic powder, it is $1.12. This time for about 18 tablespoons. And lastly, the paprika, this is also Great Value, and is also $1.12, but this time for about 8 tablespoons. Now for our dollar per serving. Since the recipe calls for about 2 pounds of tenders and 12 is divisible by 4, we are actually going to keep this row the exact same. So $8.22 is our price per serving, and our price per part is $8.22 as well. This will make it easier to divide when we get into our final chart. Buttermilk is $2.72 divided by 4, that is 68 cents. For our eggs, $3.26 divided by 12 is 27 cents. And in the recipe, we only need 1 egg, so we are just going to keep this at 27 cents. Our garlic powder, $1.12 divided by 19, and that is 6 cents. Salt is 67 cents divided by 41, and that is about 2 cents. Our pepper is $2.08 divided by 30.5, that's 7 cents. Flour is $1.32 divided by 7.5, and that is 18 cents. Cornstarch, $1.92 divided by 2.8, that is 69 cents. Onion powder, $1.12 divided by 18, and that is 6 cents. And then our paprika, $1.12 divided by 8, that is 14 cents. Now we can do our dollar per part. For buttermilk, we need 1.5 cups of that. So multiplied by 1.5, that is $1.02. For our garlic powder, we need 2 tablespoons of that. so that's going to come out to 12 cents. Salt, we also need 2 tablespoons, so it's going to be 4 cents. Our pepper, we need 1 teaspoon, so this stays at 7 cents. Flour, we need 2 cups of that, so this is 36 cents. Cornstarch is half a cup, so we're going to need about 35 cents. Onion powder, we need 1 tablespoon, so it stays the same at 6 cents. And then we just need a tablespoon of paprika, so that stays at 14 cents. And doing the math for all of this, that will come down to $10.65 for 12 of them. And normally we would do how much it is per finger, but we are going to save that toward the very end. But what we can do now is total all of this up to see how much it would cost to get all these items in the store. And when we calculate all the total prices, we can see that this, and when we do the math on the total price, we can see that it costs $23.55 to get all the items. Now we move on to our next item. Now, the chicken was the most ingredients, so all of these will not have as many ingredients as the chicken tenders did. And our next item on the list is our Texas toast. And this only needs 3 ingredients: bread, garlic salt, and unsalted butter. Now, we are going to start off with the bread because that one is the trickiest to find. Now, what Raising Cane's uses is a type of bread called barbecue Texas toast, or barbecue sesame bread. However, this is very expensive if you get it on Amazon, but you are getting it in bulk. So the closest item that I could find was the Freshness Guaranteed Sesame Seed Italian Loaf. And for that, it's going to cost $1.47 for 8 slices. Our garlic salt is a little bit easier. We are going to go back to McCormick like we did with the pepper. And that one is going to be $2.98 for 48 teaspoons. And then our unsalted butter. This is the Great Value brand. And that is $4.26 for 32 tablespoons. Now we're going to do our dollar per serving. For the bread, each slice is going to be 18 cents. For our garlic salt, it's going to be about 6 cents. And then our unsalted butter is 13 cents. And then dollar per part. The recipe calls for 4 of those slices, so 18 cents times 4 is 72 cents. Our garlic salt, we need half a teaspoon, so that goes down to 3 cents because we are multiplying by half or dividing by 2. And then we need 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So we're going to multiply this by 4, and that gives us 52 cents. All in all, that gives us a total of $1.27 for 4 slices. And if we were to add all the ingredients from the total price, we get a total of $8.71. Now we get to move on to our cane sauce. Now, unlike the Smasher sauce in my last episode where I took a look at the Sonic Smasher Burger, the cane sauce is relatively known in terms of what is in the sauce. And that would be mayo, ketchup, garlic salt, Worcestershire sauce, but I just labeled it as W sauce, and pepper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir the garlic salt and the pepper because we do not need to add that when we do our total cost to get the items. And speaking of that, we are going to reuse the prices of the garlic salt and the pepper from the other items that we looked at. So $2.98, 48 teaspoons, or 6 cents. And then for the pepper, $2.08 for about 30.5 teaspoons, or 7 cents per serving. Now the mayo in last week's Sonic Smasher episode, I did use a larger Great Value jar of mayo, but I'm going to use a smaller one in this case. And that's going to cost $2.12, about 1.9 cups. For the ketchup, that is also Great Value, and that is $1.94 for about 3.3 cups. And lastly, the Worcestershire sauce. I'm also going to be using the Great Value brand, and that is $1.12 for 59 teaspoons. Now for our dollar per serving. For the mayo, 212 divided by 1.9 is $1.12. Our ketchup, $1.94 divided by 3.3, that is 59 cents. And then our Worcestershire sauce, that's going to be about 2 cents. And then our dollar per part, we need half a cup of mayo, so that is going to be 56 cents. Our ketchup, we need a quarter cup of that, so that's 15 cents. Our garlic salt, we need half a teaspoon of that, so that is 3 cents. We need a quarter teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And when we do the math, that does give us half a cent, but we're just going to round it to 1 cent. And then lastly, for our pepper, we need half a teaspoon, and that's around 4 cents. And when we add all that together, it's going to cost about 79 cents, and that's going to be roughly about 12 tablespoons. And not counting our garlic salt and pepper, since we already added that, adding our mayo, ketchup, and Worcestershire sauce, that gives us about $5.18. We only have 2 more items to go. Next up is our coleslaw. And the 2 ingredients that we're going to be using is, of course, our coleslaw itself and the dressing. Now, the coleslaw is the Market Side Tricolor coleslaw, and that is just going to be $1.97. And we don't need to know how many servings just yet, because we're just going to be using the whole bag. And then our coleslaw dressing, I got this from Kraft, and that is about $2.98, but that's for 2 cups. And in most traditional coleslaws, you would use about 3/4 of a cup. So, by doing a little bit of a proportion here, we just need to see how much it costs for 3/4 of a cup. So we would need to do 298 times 3/4 divided by 2. And that gives us a total of $1.12. So, in that case, it would cost this plus this a total of $3.09, and that does make about 7.5 cups. And if we add both the coleslaw and the dressing together, it would cost about $4.95. Now we move on to our final item, which is our lemonade. Our very last item in our box combo is the lemonade, and this only has 3 ingredients: lemon juice, sugar, and water. And I did get this recipe from recipes.net. Now, all of these ingredients will be from Great Value. Also, you'll notice that water is on the chart. You could use your tap water and will save you money, but I do find in my case that the water tastes better if it was in a jug or a bottle than coming out of the tap. So for the lemon juice, it is $1.78 for about 1.85 cups. The sugar, that is $3.14 for about 9.46 cups. And then the water is $1.37 for exactly 16 cups. Our dollar per serving for the lemon juice, it is 96 cents. For the sugar, it is 33 cents. And then the water is 9 cents. Now in the recipe, we just need 1 cup of lemon juice, so that stays at 96 cents. For the sugar, we need half a cup, so that's 17 cents. And then for our water is 36 cents for 4 cups. And when we add all that together, we get a total of $1.49 for 44 ounces, which is double of the amount that you would get at Raising Cane's. And if you were to add all the total prices together, you would get a total of $6.29. Now that we know all the ingredient prices, we can go on to the main chart and see how much it costs to make it. Now, I do have the chart once again, but this time it has the total prices from our chart as well as our fries. Once again, we did not have any homemade fries because for the average consumer, it would take way too much time to make crinkle cut fries. It's just a lot easier to get them from frozen, and that's what Raising Cane's does as well. So, now we're just going to do the dollar per serving. For the chicken tenders, per chicken tender itself, that's going to be 89 cents. For the Texas toast, that's going to be about 32 cents. Our cane sauce is going to be 7 cents. Coleslaw is 41 cents. And then our lemonade, we can do one of two things. We can either divide this and then multiply by how many ounces. We can also just divide this by 2. So per serving, dividing 149 by 44, we get 13 cents. But if we just divide it by 2, we get our 22-ounce serving, which is 75 cents. Now our dollar per part, multiplying our chicken tenders by 4, that would be $3.56. Our Texas toast is going to be 32 cents because we only need one of them. Our cane sauce is going to be 49 cents. And then our coleslaw is going to be 10 cents. And doing all the math, we see that it would cost $5.62 to make. And that is homemade. Pre-made, keeping that in mind, is $5.21. Meaning that it's going to cost 41 cents less to get all the items already made for you, so you just cook them instead of making them yourself, with of course the obvious exception of the fries. And speaking of which, the fries and the coleslaw were the cheapest to make compared to the pre-made versions. All the rest of these items, the pre-made versions were cheaper. Furthermore, if we were to do the math on the total price based on all the ingredients that we need, it's going to cost a whopping $48.68. So what is the key takeaway of all this? While it is cheaper to get the items and make everything yourself as opposed to going to Raising Cane's and getting the box combo, it is cheaper to get them already made for you so that it's ready to cook, ready to bake, or just ready to serve, as opposed to making them from scratch, with of course the exception of the fries and the coleslaw. However, I would also keep in mind of the cane sauce because that is difficult to get, whereas the chicken tenders is a little bit easier to obtain, and you can also get other chicken tenders as well. So that is all for the box combo. If you have any other suggestions on what I should do, leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and keep on cooking and calculating.